Today in this video, we are going to discuss about a very interesting yoga in Vedic astrology. But before I talk about this yoga, I would like to mention about three sets of people. The first set of people are those who get good results despite putting in lesser efforts in their life. You can call them as lucky and fortunate. The second set of people are those who get good results after working extremely hard. You can call them as those who become lucky after working hard, or the harder they work, the luckier they become. The third set of people are those who get average results for their hard labor initially. Initially, they might be required to struggle a lot in their lives, but once they succeed, then their success is massive and grand. Their success knows no boundaries after that. So it is these third set of people whom I'm talking about in this video who can have the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga operative in their charts. Hi friends, welcome to Swati Surbhi Astro. Today in this video, I would be discussing about the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga in Vedic astrology. So how is this Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga formed, or what is exactly the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga? See, whenever a planet is debilitated in the chart of the native, and this debilitated planet's debilation gets cancelled by virtue of another planet, then we say that the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is formed in the birth chart of the native. So once this happens, the debilitated planet becomes stronger and it can even start to function as good as an exalted planet for the native. The Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is one of those yogas which can lead the native from the path of misery to the path of massive fame and glory. So there are six strong ways in which the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is formed in the birth chart of a person. Now the last way, or the sixth way, is tells us about the formation of this yoga in the strongest manner, or when the results of this yoga are most powerfully felt in our lives. That is the sixth way of its formation. So let us discuss about each of the ways in this video now. Now the first way of formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga. So the lord of the sign of the debilitated planet, or the lord of the sign in which a planet is debilitated, if the lord of the sign in which a planet is debilitated is placed in the kendra or in the quadrant houses from the ascendant or from the moon, then it leads to the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga by the first rule. Okay, so I will also explain it by way of an example so that it becomes clearer to everyone. So in this, what I have said, that the lord of the sign in which a planet is debilitated, that planet should be sitting in the kendra from the ascendant or the moon. But in this again, two conditions are there, two additional conditions. Now, if the lord of the sign in which the planet is debilitated is sitting in the kendra or in the quadrant houses from both the ascendant and the moon, then this yoga is powerfully formed. And the second condition, if the debilitated planet too is sitting in the quadrant houses or in the kendra from the ascendant, then it gives further power to this yoga. So now let us understand by way of an example. Now taking the example of Saturn. Saturn is debilitated in the sign of Aries. Now the lord of the sign of Aries is Mars. So if Mars is sitting in kendra or in the quadrant houses from the lagna or from the ascendant or even from the moon, then it can lead to the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga in the birth chart of the native. In this case, this yoga would be powerfully formed if Mars is placed in the kendra from both the ascendant and the moon. And if debilitated Saturn is also placed in the quadrant houses, which are the 1st, 4th, 7th and the 10th houses, then this yoga is rather powerfully formed. So this is the first way of the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga. Now the second way of formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga, the planet which gets exalted in the sign in which a particular planet is debilitated, and if that planet which gets exalted in which a particular planet is debilitated is sitting in the kendra or in the quadrant houses from the ascendant or from the moon, then also it leads to the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga in the birth chart of the native. Now, when I talk about kendra or the quadrant houses, what do I mean by them? So, I mean the kendra or the quadrant houses are the 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th houses of the birth chart. So this is the position from the Lagna. Now, whenever your moon is placed anywhere in the birth chart, you have to check the 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th houses from the placement of moon also. So you can find the quadrant houses from both the ascendant or from the Lagna and also from the moon in this manner. Now, the second way of formation, I think it is very simple, that whenever the planet which is exalted in the sign in which a particular planet is debilitated is placed in the kendra from the ascendant or the moon, then it leads to the formation of this yoga. But in this case also, this yoga becomes more powerful when this concerned planet is placed in kendra or in the quadrant houses from both the ascendant and the moon. And if the debilitated planet too is placed in the kendra or in the quadrant houses from the ascendant, then it further adds power to this yoga. So let us understand with the help of an example in this case also. So Saturn is debilitated in the sign of Aries. The lord of the sign of Aries is Mars. But which planet gets exalted in the sign of Aries? It is the planet Sun. Sun gets exalted in the sign of Aries. So if Saturn is debilitated in your birth chart and if Sun is placed in the kendra or in the quadrant houses from the ascendant or from the moon, then it leads to the formation of this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga. Now, the first two ways were easy for us to understand because they were more or less on the same lines. Now, I will be talking about the third way, which is a little complicated than the first two ways, but very few people know about this way of formation of the Neechbhanga Raja Yoga. So, let us talk about the third way of formation. What happens in this case is that whenever the lord of the sign in which a particular planet is debilitated and the lord of the sign in which that particular planet is exalted are in mutual kendras from each other, then also it leads to the formation of this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga. In this case, it forms rather powerfully. Now, it sounds complicated, right? So let us understand it by the way of an example. So Saturn, let us take the example of Saturn only. Saturn is debilitated in the sign of Aries. The lord of Aries is Mars. And Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. And the lord of Libra is Venus. So if in your chart, Saturn is debilitated and if both Mars and Venus are placed in quadrant houses or are placed in kendra from each other, then it leads to the formation of this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga, and then it is said in the classics that a person can become very famous in his lifetime or can, have the power of King of Kings. That kind of results can be conferred in the life of the native. Now, the fourth way of formation. In this, what happens that when the lord of the sign in which a particular planet is debilitated fully casts its aspect on the debilitated planet, then it is also said that this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga is formed in the birth chart of the native. But in this case, this yoga is very weakly formed. And such a person has to undergo many kinds of struggles, many kinds of hurdles and obstacles and delays can come in his or her life during the Mahadasha or the Antardasha periods of the debilitated planet. So in this case, we also have to check the degree difference between the two planets concerned. Now, let us understand this better by the way of an example. So, taking the example of Saturn only in this case also. So, Saturn is debilitated in the sign of Aries. Now, the lord of Aries is Mars. Now, suppose Mars casts its full aspect on Saturn by way of its 4th, 7th or 8th aspect. Then, it leads to the formation of this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga. But in this case, the yoga is weakly formed. So, we check the degree difference between Mars and Saturn. Now, if the difference in the degree of Mars and Saturn is more than 15, then it leads to the further dilution of the strength of this yoga. And then the results might not be as per our expectations. Now, the fifth way of formation of the Neechbhanga Raja Yoga. So, in this what happens that whenever a planet which is debilitated in the birth chart of the native and it gets exalted in the Navansha chart or in the D9 chart of the native, then also it leads to the formation of this Neechbhanga Raja Yoga, but here again, this yoga is weakly formed in strength. Like it basically depicts what? It shows that the person witnesses a lot of transformations in his life with regard to those areas of his life which are represented by those houses over which that concerned planet has lordship. Like for example, if Saturn is debilitated in your birth chart and if you are Virgo ascendant, then Saturn has lordship over the 5th and the 6th houses of your birth chart. Now, what does the 5th house show? Fifth house shows our children, our education, our romantic relationships, etc. are shown by the fifth house. Even our creativity to some extent is depicted by the fifth house. So now when this Saturn gets exalted in the Navansha chart or in the D9 chart, then the person concerned undergoes transformations with regard to his children, with regard to his education, with regard to his creativity. So what happens through these transformations, the person concerned learns life lessons. And through the application of these life lessons, he is able to make his life a lot more better in the later years. So this is how this yoga manifests itself in the life of the native. So let us talk about the sixth way of formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga, in which it is most powerfully formed in the life of the native. So this happens whenever the debilitated planet is conjunct the exalted planet or the sign Lord. Then also it leads to the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga in a rather powerful manner. So let me explain this with the help of an example. Like Saturn is debilitated in the sign of Aries. Now if Saturn is conjunct Mars or if Saturn is conjunct Sun, Mars is the sign Lord of Aries and Sun is the planet which gets exalted in the sign of Aries. Or if Saturn gets conjunct both Mars and Sun, and if it is placed in kendra or trikona also, this conjunction of these three planets is placed in the kendra or trikona also, then it can confer massive name, fame and popularity to the native. The native can attain a very high position in his or her life. So this is when the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is most powerfully formed in the life of the native. But one point has to be taken in consideration while checking the strength of this yoga. You have to check the strength of both the exalted and the debilitated planet in the Shad Bal. Okay, so when you check the strength of both the exalted planet and the debilitated planet, both the planets concerned should be strong in the Shad Bal. Like the strength should be above 100 or the strength should be above 1. Whichever software you are using for making Shad Bal, the strength can depend and vary according to that. So once you check the strength, then you can be assured that yes, you have this yoga being formed in your chart and you are definitely going to become very lucky and fortunate in the later years of your life. Now some important points about the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga. So these points have been collected by me through research work. I have done extensive research work under my gurus, and by way of my research, I have accumulated and collected these 3 points which I'm going to tell about in this video. So the first point. Now you have to check whether this Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is formed only in the D1 chart or it is formed in the D9 chart also. So when this Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga is formed in both the D1 and the D9 charts, then it becomes even more powerful. And then the results can be more impactfully felt in the life of the native. Okay, now the second point, which is also a very important point. If in the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga, the debilation of a Yoga Karaka planet gets cancelled by virtue of formation of this yoga, then also very powerful results can be seen in the life of such a native. Like for example, if you are a Cancer ascendant or a Leo ascendant and your Mars is debilitated in your birth chart, and if the debilation of Mars is getting cancelled in your birth chart, leading to the formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga subsequently, then you can, you can see so many good results of this yoga in your life. And if for a Capricorn ascendant or for an Aquarius ascendant, the debilation of Venus gets cancelled by virtue of formation of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga, then also very powerful results can be seen in the life of the native. Now the third principle, which is also a very important one, is this, that the results of the Neech Bhanga Raja Yoga can be mainly felt in the professional life of the person, but not so much in the personal life of the person. In the personal life, the person concerned might have to suffer a lot by virtue of the debilation of that particular planet. And this is even more true when a natural benefic planet like Jupiter or Venus gets debilitated in the birth chart of the native. So friends, this was all in this video. I hope you all liked this video. If you all liked it and if you appreciated my efforts or gathered even some knowledge through this video, then please do like it, share it with your friends and other family members. And please, please, please do subscribe my channel. The name of my channel is Swati Surbhi Astro. And I would continue putting in a lot of efforts to bring in more good videos for you in the future as well. Thank you.